Alive. Am I live? Hi, y'all. I don't know if you can hear me. I did a test stream earlier. I don't see anybody live, so I'm not sure. Okay. Am I live? There we go. I think I'm live now. Am I live? Am I alive?
Yes,
I
you
think
are.
I am alive. So if anybody can hear me, please tell me in the chat so I don't freak out because I just came from the vendor floor. They're closing it soon, so I didn't want to miss it. I only see one person. Am I live, guys? Hold on a second. Oh, okay. Hi, Jeanette Angel. Okay, yes, you're live. Thank you, Jeanette Angel. And now I see there is some major lag, so it only looks like I have one person watching right now, but it is totally based on the Wi-Fi. So where are we right now? By the way, the vendor floor is closing. I took some video. I'll show you guys later because it's seriously cool. But before we go there, we are at Mark D'Antonio's booth. But before Mark comes out, because he's going to tell us all about his panel, which unfortunately I wasn't able to make. Before he comes out, we have a special guest here. We have Marianne Robb. Let me go ahead and bring you in. Come on in. Come on in, because I need them to hear you. Can you guys say hi, Marianne? And
Hi, guys.
Marianne is with UAPPD. This is a thing, y'all. And I needed to make sure I brought it over to you. Mark D'Antonio is going to be here in a bit after his panel. So, Marianne, and you guys keep me posted if there's any audio issues or lag. Marianne, thank you so much. We've been sitting next to each other for like the last 3 days.
Yep, we sure
basically.
have.
And I am about to pass out. I'm so exhausted, and I think you are
I am
also.
too.
Tell us about what you guys are doing and how important this is, especially at a time. I mean, it's palpable. It's World UFO Day, you guys. So tell us.
Oh, well, UAPPD is Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon PD, Police Department. And what our presentation is all about is we share stories of police officers that have seen and explained but never talk about it because of the stigma, because of their reputation as police officers, or I should say law enforcement officers, because we're not just talking city police, we're talking county, state, federal. Some people don't know that park rangers and game and fish officers are law enforcement, and they are. So these are the stories we would like to share with the public to get that out. Police officers, you were just talking about this is the time of disclosure. The government has said, please, you're not going to get fired if you share your story of a UFO or whatever you see. The problem is it's not the government. It is fellow officers. It is their reputation. Even a police officer goes, hey, I saw something. Fellow officers are going to say, this guy's a nut. I'm not going to
Just
go
like
into
the
a house.
pilots, but it's like the police
Exactly.
department version of the same thing.
Exactly.
Ah.
Because even a military pilot or an airline pilot, if they share their story, they're fellow pilots. If you have a wingman, do you really think that wingman is going to be paying attention to where he needs to be? No, he's going to think, oh my goodness, what is this pilot going to go see some disc and they're going to go off into the wild blue yonder? No. So that's why law enforcement, pilots, airline pilots just don't say anything about whatever they might see.
Absolutely. I mean, so as you're getting out, so where are you in your organization at this point? So when
Okay.
did you start? How many people? How do we, is this like a grassroots thing? Is there, tell me a little bit about how
It is a grassroots thing. I was a police officer in Arizona for 34 years. My partner, Dave Rich, just retired from 25 years of law enforcement experience. Now, we started this about 4 months ago. So yeah,
4
this
months
is
This
brand
is
new.
brand new.
It is. We're trying to get the word out that we want police officers to contact us. And again, you have our card. We have a website called uappd.com. And we want people.
UAPPD.com. I'm going to put
Yep.
that in the video description as well.
Okay, that
Because
would
we
be
want to
great.
keep up with this. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, the reason it took us so long to start this is Dave Rich, officer, he actually had a paranormal experience. We had a ghost call 911 to our police agency from one one of our
You
high
guys hearing
schools.
Are you?
No, this is
That
this
help?
is this
You
happened.
guys, this is okay.
This was 2017. He did the investigation on this, and he was told by one of the sergeants, they called him a liar. He said, "You're making this up. You're just doing it for it." Why would a police officer even make something like this up? How would you make this up?
It doesn't
So-
help them.
No,
If
it doesn't.
anything, and this is where that stigma kicks you, right? It's like it
Exactly.
doesn't help you. So you're gonna just opt out because otherwise you're just gonna be made fun of. So tell me about the story though, because this is fascinating. A ghost called 911.
Right. And I won't tell you a whole, and we actually have the 911 tape. Can't
gosh.
share it.
Mhm.
We do that on our live presentation.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it was a Saturday afternoon where this ghost, it was a female, young girl, calls the dispatch, answers 911, what's your emergency? And you hear it whisper, "I scared." And then the dispatcher goes, "You're scared?" And then the voice goes, "No." So it was like, okay. And then all of a sudden you hear this hiccup thing, and then you hear the phone drop on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
So for 14 minutes, there's an open line. Police officers get to the school. They don't find anything. And there's video. There is probably 3-4 hour of video. Nobody was near that phone at all. When they analyzed the video or the audio, it wasn't "I'm scared." She says, or it says, "I scare."
I scared.
I scare, not I'm scared.
scared. And not like I scared,
Like
like
you,
a little.
boo, I scare.
I scare.
Yeah.
I scare.
Like she scares everybody
She
else.
scares everybody else.
And what was interesting is that when the dispatcher goes, "You're scared," this thing answered the dispatch. So you knew that they were, I had the consciousness, I guess you call it, that to answer the dispatcher. And then that was it. So when my partner, Dave Rich, did the investigation, sergeant called him into his office, and the sergeant called him a liar. That was 2017. As soon as Dave left that sergeant's office, at that point, he goes, "I will never talk about this incident again." Okay, that was 2017. This is now 2023. And he's retired now. He's sharing that story. Again, his reputation, and here's the stigma
Yeah.
that he refused for 6 years to talk about it until he retired. And now we have this presentation.
Interesting. So let me just make sure I understand because people are asking questions like, "What's the phone on the counter?" So and I know I'm gonna send them over to your stuff so they can listen to the call itself. So
Yeah.
Just so I can understand. So somebody calls from the school.
Right.
It's on a cell or a landline.
No, it's a landline. It is
That's
right.
the key. It's
So
landline.
the
Okay.
phone was on the counter,
Yeah.
and there's video, there's surveillance video all over where the front desk is in the lobby of the school.
Mm-hmm.
For 4 hours, Dave Rich looked at the video at no time from the about 4 hours before and after the 911. When the police officers showed up at the school to check around, there was nobody. But the phone was off the hook, laying on the counter. But there was absolutely no, and because it's motion sensitive video, there should have been somebody. So
Yeah.
Dave Rich checked, a lot of times 911 will get called if there's water in the lines.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of rain, it seeps in 911. We do have false calls.
Mm-hmm.
But that did not happen. It did not. Nobody called from any other area in the school because that would have showed on the 911.
Mm-hmm.
It was from that phone, and there was nobody there whatsoever. So yes, that's
trip.
our biggest story. We've got others we have one that is a real interesting, but we can't share because it's actually a cold case of a homicide, and it's got some paranormal twists to it. But we can't talk about it right now because it's still an ongoing. We have not made an arrest on that one yet. But we're that's going to come. We're going to have that because you talk about a mic drop. That's going to be a mic drop case, and it's a paranormal type case.
It's a good one.
Oh yeah, it's a very good one.
It's that good. It is that good.
But again, the reason we're unidentified anomalous phenomenon is because we don't just investigate things that are in the sky. We don't just investigate UFOs. We get things on land, which are skinwalkers or the paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
and Bigfoot. Or, you never know when an officer might see things underwater, a USO, unidentified submerged object, which there was one in Hudson Valley, New York. But unfortunately, the officers won't talk to us about it. But they watched something come out of the sky and dive into the water.
And they won't
talk about it. Nobody would allow the MUFON dive teams to go in there or anything. But there is something under the water on that one. So hopefully someday.
UFOs, I totally buy. My favorite UFO is, it's potentially UFO because it was the Aguadilla 2013 that goes into the water in Puerto Rico and splits up and then comes back out. That one. So
there you go.
I totally believe in UFOs. But we still have a question. So when the officer got there, was the phone still connected to 911?
Yes. It stays. Nuts. The dispatcher will stay on 911 all the way through. It's 14 minutes when the officers arrived. Then what happens, our policy with the police department is the officer will walk to the phone, get on there, give them their badge number, and say everything. Our call sign or our sign is code 4, which means everything is okay. So dispatch waits until the officer gives their ID number. Everything is fine. There's no one around. And then the officer will hang up the phone. So that's what we did. But yeah, there's always an open line. So for 14 minutes, we have that video, but it's kind of boring when all you hear is, hello, hello, hello. Of course, it's not there until the police officer arrives, gives his, everything's okay, and hangs up the phone. So yeah.
Tell me how those police officers felt after that.
Well, it's interesting you say that.
I love the feeling part, the human part.
When the officers went in, and this is on video, this is on that surveillance video. The 2 officers walked into the nurse's office. Within 3 seconds, you see them, boom, rush right out of that nurse's office. When Dave Rich asked him, why are you running so fast? What happened? He goes, as soon as we opened up the door, we felt a cold rush go straight through, go right past us. Okay, you got to understand, these 2 police officers, one is a Marine, and he is a no-nonsense guy. The other guy's a good Christian. He's also a no-nonsense guy. They don't know anything about the paranormal. They don't know ghosts. They would never joke about this kind of stuff at all, ever. So that's what gives credibility to these 2 officers that talked to Dave Rich and said, no, we opened up, and they wanted out as quick as they could. They got out of there.
But I love this. I love that you're taking on these things.
Because
they get out there. I mean, these are police officers. They're used to danger, So
exactly.
I mean, so how are you activating people? How many people are involved in this so far? How are you doing this? Because you're from Arizona, so I'm trying to see how
both Dave Rich and I were retired Gilbert police officers, Gilbert, Arizona police officers. We're trying to get like this, having a live stream or being on a show and getting the word out that if you know of a police officer, or a law enforcement officer, so I'm not saying police, all over law enforcement, and either you are or you know someone, please, you can either remain anonymous or you can share your story and give it, if you want to be totally known, we can do that. We're also looking at writing a book. We've been approached by a producer for a television show. Excuse me. And what we're trying to do is just get all officers. Now, the reason also we're doing this and being police officers, I don't think a law enforcement officer would talk to just Joe off the street kind of thing.
Exactly.
They trust other police officers. And one of the things that we say is the detective that did that homicide I was telling you about, when he came and talked to us, he first said, don't take notes, don't audio, don't video it. I said, okay. So he sat in a chair, and all of a sudden, his shoulders are up like this. He's very tense. By the time he finished with his story, it was like, he got it out. He got it off his chest.
And that's another important work.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
But it's like, I kind of analogy of a criminal. When they do a crime, what do? They have it bent up in here until they talk to an officer or something, and there's like, thank you, I needed to get that off my chest. And that's what we're trying to get law enforcement officers to do. Because if they, like Dave Rich, he kept this inside eating at him since 2017. Finally, he got it out, and he felt so much more relaxed. So that's what we're trying to do is, like I said, they could remain anonymous if they want. They could be identified if they want, We just want to hear the stories of whatever happened, but we just want the law enforcement community.
I love it. It's like there's pockets of activation. There's activism going. There's pockets of people getting activated to take action
Yeah.
where there's something missing, like the pilots. The
Exactly.
pilots, like the commercial pilots. Not
Yeah.
even so there's the military, and then there's the commercial pilots who see stuff all the time, and police officers. I mean, you guys are the first responders, and
Right.
you're the guys that are like the first ones there, and you see all the high strangeness, and there's nobody to support you. So this is
There's nobody
amazing.
exactly. There's nobody to talk to. They see it. They go home. Possibly their wives or husbands are not going to believe them. So they keep it inside, and it's pent up. It's just eating at them, and that's not good.
It's experiencers. They're experiencers.
Right.
Like, and we
Exactly
don't,
it.
but I love the unity of police department because it's like police, right? Policeman to policeman, there's that bond.
Exactly.
It's like the military bond. When you see the two military guys like talking to each other, they bond. I think Sergeant Cindy and John Alexander.
Yeah.
They had like this immediate bond, and that's where it's important to have the police talk to the police.
Right. And like Dave Rich says, by the way, Rebellious, thank you. I do appreciate that tremendously.
She loves you. I can tell.
Thank
She's
you.
one of my best friends.
What you just said is like Dave Rich in our talk. He says, I will take a bullet for another law enforcement officer in a heartbeat. Even though I'm retired, if something happened right here and there was a gunfight, I would take a bullet for that law enforcement officer, and they would do the same for me. Like you just said, it's a family. Whether or not you're a pilot, whether military, private, whatever. Everybody, they whatever career you're in, you're a family. You're united, and you will do anything for each other. So that's why it's a safe zone. We are considered the safe zone.
I love it.
Now, another thing is, I do want to kind of put in there if there's any first responders, as in firefighters or EMS, we want those stories too, because we're going to have a section in our book talk about first responders too. So we have the law enforcement, and I know firefighters and EMS, they do see things also. So we would like them to share their
Anybody's
stories also.
first at any scene.
Exactly.
And I mean, they're out there just like
Exactly.
anybody else. If anything, they're more diligent because they're
Right.
like looking at everything and just making sure they're like keeping an eye on things. They're going to see it.
Right.
You know?
And Lonnie Zamora, Socorro,
Yeah.
New Mexico. That's the first story that we tell. Here you have an officer that has seen things. The military comes out, they make fun of them and make excuses, yet Project Blue Book comes out. They admit that Lonnie, they never saw any deception from him whatsoever. They could not explain what he saw. And they said, yes, it was an unexplained object that he saw. Of course, back in, 67 or there's no video, no audio or anything like that. But he did. And Project Blue Book never doubted him. But did poor Lonnie Zamora have a great rest of his life? It was stressful because you had your believers and you had your skeptics that probably just really made it hard for him and his family to live a normal life. And
I think there's isolation around that because from your own community, if there's nobody that within the community to be able to support, then he probably felt like he was like in the middle. The policemen don't trust him because this story is crazy because we're all crazy, and nobody else believes him. So it's kind of stuck in the middle. It's so
stuck
sad.
in the middle. And we've seen reports of Royal Canadian Mounted Police. There was an officer that actually saw something over, I think it was in Wales or Newfoundland, excuse me. Anyway, Canada, where he was forced by his supervisors to go on camera and talk about it. And he hated every second of it. He had to quit because it was so stressful. They were forcing him to do that. And then when he did it, he gets ridiculed. So it's like, it's a non-win situation, basically. Usually you hope the win-win, but this was a not-win situation for him. And it's horrible because he quit, and he had to move his family out of that just to quit getting harassed by just citizens and officers and everybody. It was pretty bad.
Well, I am so glad you're doing this service. Now, let me ask you something. So Are you an experiencer yourself? Have you seen what brought you to this?
Well, it's interesting you say that. Actually, back in 2014, my late husband went to the International UFO Congress that was in Scottsdale, Arizona, in
Mm.
February 2014. And he started going to MUFON, Mutual UFO Network.
Mhm.
We have a chapter in Phoenix. He started going there. He asked me, would you please go with me just one time, just check out this? And I'm thinking, okay, whatever, I'll do it. I met the greatest, wonderful people there.
That's-
Our speaker of the day was Kathleen Martin. And
Oh my gosh!
oh, baby,
Wow!
yes.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
As
That's
a
good.
trained police officer, what am I looking for? I'm looking for deception in
Mhm.
somebody's story. I'm looking at body language. Kathleen was amazing when she told a story about her aunt and uncle, Betty and Barney Hill.
Mhm.
And there was no deception. It was so perfect. Anyway, so I started going to the meetings. 2015, I joined MUFON, became a field investigator,
This is so-
and now look at it, 2023, and I'm just kind of in the thick of it. I have never seen anything.
Mhm. Me neither.
Yeah, my late husband saw Fireball while he was fishing one time, but I've
Same.
never been
Fireball.
an experiencer. I've never, but I would be, I'll be a nice. I will say your head is in the sand if you think we're alone in this universe. There is no way in the world we are alone. So I have never, but there are plenty of people that I know that have been experiencers, that have seen things, that there was no reason for them to lie to me. And when
Yeah.
they told me the stories, I totally believe. Dave Rich, he's dealt more with the paranormal. He's never seen a UFO, but again, he's dealt with the paranormal side of it. And of course, like I said, he investigated a ghost call 911. So
That is-
he's no,
I can't believe I haven't heard that story, and now I'm like, I just can't wait to dig into it because
it is. Now again, that's one of our presentations that we do. We don't want to share that 911 tape on the live streams
Yeah.
or on anything because we don't want people getting that, and sharing the
oh,
911
they'll
tape. So
clip it, they'll post it, they'll
So,
tweak it. Yeah, I
if
get
anybody
you.
can come, if they can get on uappd.com,
Get it there.
we right now we have MUFON, Sedona MUFON will be talking there in December, but that's all we have right now. But Roswell here, uh, we're going to be invited to do Roswell next year, Contact in the Desert. It's just, again, we're so fresh, we're so new.
Mhm.
Now, right now, we have approximately 25 to 30 officers that have shared their stories with us.
Mhm.
And we're just trying to get as many as we can. We've got people from Las Vegas, Nevada, mostly Arizona. Matter of fact, Toby Martinez with the Roswell Daily Record did a story on us on Friday.
Oh wow!
And
Cool.
since then, we have two New York police officers, NYPD officers, that have contacted us on our website and said, "Hey, we want to talk to you. We've had things happen in New York, and there's a possibility they've never talked about it before. They want to share their stories with us."
That is.
So as soon as I get
the
home, we'll be
more the
contacting
merrier.
them.
So we need a Dorothy. So one thing I want to make sure we want to help.
Cool.
I have a channel. We have Rebellious Unknown has a channel. Alien Girl was on the chat. Dorothy Hawkins. All these people are part of the community, and they're really, really excited about all this. So how can we help you? What's the
Just
best?
spread the word. Spread the word. If you know a law enforcement officer has seen something and they're reluctant to talk, I understand that, but please have them reach out to us on, again, uappd.com. We
Put
have
that on the chat. Thank you, Lynn. Got it right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm sorry. Okay, we're coming. That is Melinda Leslie's back there. After my stream, I'm gonna go check her out. So, and there's John Alexander again. Say hi to John. Everybody's going to the lecture. So,
But, anyway.
and back to you.
Yes,
So,
all good.
we already have. Look at this. Activated. Already told my police sergeant friend
Thank
about
you. Thank you.
So,
But
yeah.
yeah, just get on our website. On the button, there'll be a button up front says, or on the top says "Contact Us." Please put your information on the "Contact Us" button. It comes to my email, and I will contact them right away saying, hey, thank you, and we'll be in contact. Right now, with the holiday weekend and everything going on, I'll be back home and getting everything done probably the next Monday, the 16th, and we're going to start doing interviews again. So, because I want everybody, this is 4th of July weekend. Let everybody enjoy.
Everybody needs to relax. It is World UFO Day, guys.
That's true.
I totally forgot this morning when I saw it on Twitter. It's like, so I am going to take your information.
Okay.
I'm going to put this in, and we're not going anywhere, you guys. I might go mobile here in a minute. I don't know. Because Mark D'Antonio is coming this way. And there's Mr. Colonel John Alexander again. I love him. He's so cool. He is seriously cool. Rock Estes here. Rock, you're going to have to go back and watch this because you did listen to it. Thank you, Rock. So we have people. And so the action item here for the Mindforkers is pass it on. Pass it on.
Please.
If you have policemen friends or firefighters or any specifically policemen, because obviously that's who you guys are gonna connect with the most. That's like the part of this that started right.
Exactly.
But let's keep up with what's going on here and just make sure we support these grassroots. This is how it starts. One person or a couple of people get together and really think about what could make a difference.
That's exactly it.
And I dig it. And I have to say real quick, a big thank you to this girl right here, Hectic Stargazer Cindy, who's been with me all weekend. She was the one that talked to you.
Oh, cool.
She's the one that set us up. So
Thank you
guys have Cindy to thank for that. She's not here right now. She's on the chat because she's taking a little break because we're a little exhausted.
I would say so. It's been fun 3 days.
It's been crazy. And people are starting, the energy's starting to ramp down. The escape room is down. They're starting, not the escape room, the maze. They brought down the maze. I did take a video and I am going to publish it. I couldn't go live from the maze. I tried. It didn't go well. Okay. Did I find any of the aliens? No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Did I even was I even comfortable? No, because everything was closed up and I started to get a little, and then I realized I was supposed to be going live. So, the name, Marianne was the name. Yes. Marianne was the name.
Thank you again.
We are going to take care of you, and I'm going to pass this information on to all my audience. I'm just going to leave you guys there for a second and regroup. We got Melinda Leslie. Her lecture starting. We're waiting for Mark D'Antonio. So I'm going to put the mic down, and I'm going to leave this screen for a second because that's how we roll. I actually might even.
You should be. I see Ben, so he's done. So
they're done. He'll be back.
Let's go snag him.
Let's go snag.
Thank you all. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh my God. It is a pleasure to meet you.
No, it's a pleasure.
I love this mission. I love what you're doing. I want to support it because especially now with disclosure, that I know it's disclosure in the border. We never know. But if it is, regardless, you guys need the support. Your guys need their support, just like the pilots, just like everybody else. So
thank you.
People are starting to come through.
Awesome.
Melinda, listen. Come through. Oh my God. There's so much going on. So hold 1 second. I'm going to move this way.
Okay, and we're going to go snag
we're going to sit right here because Mark D'Antonio, poor Mark, I met him like the last conference, and I've never been able to get him.
Well, let's go snag him and crown him for you.
We're going to go snag Mark D'Antonio. Let me go get him. I'll be back, you guys. In the meantime, look at the beautiful photographs from our guest that's coming up, Mark D'Antonio. And don't look at me sneaking through. I'm going to go get him. Hang in there, you guys. Lynn, keep them entertained. I'm going to go change my shirt.
Okay, bye.
You out?
All
right, be careful. I'm gonna wait. Oh no, I don't have a problem with you being here at all. Okay, you guys. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. So Mark D'Antonio is on his way. There's Ben Hansen, who's very, very tall, and hopefully you can hear me. And we are waiting for Mark D'Antonio to come out. He was with Bryce. So I don't feel real comfortable breaking up that little combo, but it would be fun. But I'm not going there. And I'm sitting here waiting. I'm like incognito, but not really. Ben, okay, Ben, let's go see Ben. Ben, is that Ben? Okay, how could oh there's Ben. There's Melinda Leslie. She's going to her lecture, and we're gonna go join her in a little bit. So there's Ben. He's so tall. And as you see, a lot of the stuff, there's a KGRA booth down there, and people are just starting to clear out. But actually, there's a lot of people that are over. There's a couple of panels going on right now. Timmy Freestone, he spent some time with us here this weekend. That was so cool. I'm so glad you made it back safe, Timmy. Timothy, sorry it was so crazy this morning. I just couldn't even get around. Lynn Wallington, there's Ben. Let's see if hey Ben, can you wave at Lynn? She's online right now.
Oh, hi.
Lynn Hurley, who you remember as Wallington, is online and she's watching my show and just wanted to say hi. You see, there, I said Wallington just so he would remember, make sure he got the right Lynn. I hope you saw that, Lynn. If you didn't, you missed. He waved that right at you. So we're sitting here. Is he coming? Do you know where he is? Is he still with Bryce? Bryce. He's with Bryce. I wonder if I should just go mobile. Should I go mobile? Chris on the run. Chris on the run. I'm taking my computer, walking around. Fun for everyone to watch me try to do this. It's not going to be fun for anyone. So, okay, there's Ben. Ben, the two of us. Sorry, I'm going to keep going. I had to sing Ben for Ben. And, oh my God, Ron James, we are on the run. And there's Colonel John Alexander. We had him on earlier on the show. Right?
You know what? Don't ask what we're talking about because we could tell you, but we'd have to kill you.
Oh, okay. Actually, I'm in. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I am live again. And there's people. Wave at people.
Hey, all right.
People,
how's everybody doing?
People who need people. I'm going to just keep moving around. I'll let you guys have your combo because that's rude of me to just break in with a live stream. I know you don't. Melinda Leslie on the run. And here we go. KGRA. We're at the KGRA booth, y'all. I am literally carrying a laptop and a microphone. So if I don't look graceful, that's why. So let's walk around. Oh my goodness. Look what we have here. Chris on the run. Danzy.
How's it going?
The Z-Man. Hey. And Vinny Barbarino.
How's it go,
There
guys?
we go. We're just saying hello to the crowd here. Chris on the run.
So we're just getting ready to go do our presentation, which
Oh
will
my
be
God.
live on Instagram. So if you want to watch it, just go
Yeah.
to @thesignal on Instagram.
At
and
the
you'll see it.
signal. So what are you? The panel?
So we're going
Is
to
it
be
a
presenting
panel?
our findings from phenomenology from Colombia, the Andes, where we're filming these mysterious lights and trying to figure out what they are.
Oh, this is seriously good. By the way, we had a really good talk the other day, and I dug it. That was so fun. We're like all good people. We're having fun. Disclosure team. I'm gonna stay on the run. Chris on the run. Bye, guys. This is a new segment. It's called Chris on the Run. Let me take you through the vendor booth. I'm basically stalling, and I'll tell you why. I'm gonna show you why. I don't know if you can hear me since I'm holding a microphone. On one hand, Vinny Barbarino. Oh, how funny. Look what's going on here. There's Mark D'Antonio, who'll be sitting with us in a few. There's Astral, who'll be joining us soon too.
Well, you know what? I wrote Ross last night and said,
Can you say hi?
Oh, hey, are we
This
on?
is the audience.
Oh, hey there. Hello.
It's Bryce Sable,
It's-
y'all.
It's
Sorry.
freaking live here. Live from
It is,
Roswell.
it's just like Bill O'Reilly.
Oh,
We're
my.
doing it live.
It's
We're doing it
incredible.
live.
He's right
Look,
there. I see him right there.
It's a Bryce.
No, right there.
Bryce
He is.
sighting. Bryce Sable and Mark D'Antonio.
Hi, Bryce.
And
It's really great.
I'm trying. Look at how I'm holding this
Thank you for
microphone.
including us on this show because we're clearly unworthy of being here, but we appreciate
You're
the
very
offer.
worthy.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I have a UFO community out there. What do you want to say to them right now? Get them excited. You
Well, I would-
fired me up. So.
Here's what I would say to people. We are living in the most important time potentially in human history. And we are living in a transition from what was before to what is going to happen. And the thing that I was saying today inside just a few minutes ago is I'm almost nostalgic for the old days, even though we haven't gotten to them yet.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right?
It's like you're already tired. You're like,
Yeah.
I want to go back to the other pill.
Yeah,
Blue pill.
exactly. Anyway, so I would say to people, keep your minds open, keep your hearts open, and be ready for anything.
I love it.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank
I'll let
you.
you. I interrupted you, and I'm sorry,
No,
but
you didn't at
I
all.
really appreciate it, and you've been awesome. Say bye to Bryce, yo! Bryce rocks. Chris on the run, and look at this.
Hello.
Chris on
Hey.
the run. And there's Nick Pope.
Here
Hi,
I am.
Nick.
Hello,
You're
everyone.
our-
Hi from
He's
Roswell.
over here, and he's over there, and he's over here, and you're all over the place.
I am.
He has been. He's like me. We keep kind of bumping into each other with our energy. I'm a little bit like, you're cool.
Oh,
You
well.
kind of keep your cool.
Well, I've just done an extra session, so there you are.
Oh, you're like relaxed.
Yeah, now I'm done for the day.
He's
Now I'm
done
looking
for the
forward.
day.
I'm looking forward to getting some food tonight and a few cold beers.
Okay, you guys need to tell us where you're going. I'm like, I'm thinking,
Then-
not hard
then
to
we're gonna
find
get
you
like
guys in
yeah,
Roswell.
then we'll get about 1 million people
Yeah.
coming in, and it's going to be a riot. But
It's
no,
gonna be a riot.
but no, we're going to have fun.
We're gonna have fun. I gotta tell you, this has been amazing. I'm exhausted right now because I've been running around with the computer and a microphone. But this has been truly amazing. Your sessions, everybody's sessions. I'm fired up. This is what I needed, and I'm gonna try to take it over to our friends at home to get all
Great.
energized.
Okay,
So thank you
great.
so much. Bye to Nick Pope, y'all.
Okay, bye everyone.
Chris on the run. And now, look who I get. Oh, he's so slick. Do you want to sit down? And if you're busy, I can come back. Let's go sit down. Back to your booth. Shoot, Gusta. Say hi to the audience. Lynn is there. Say hi to Lynn. My new bestie, Cheryl. I'm going to go interview Mark. I love it. Yay. Okay. Chris on the run. I did too. Chris on the run. I have no idea why am I singing this. Okay, Mark D'Antonio. The moment has come finally. I've been talking to you for a long time. And now we're actually gonna do it.
Here we are.
Oh my god. Okay. Sorry.
Hi.
Being on the run is draining when you're holding a microphone and a computer. And when you bump into Bryce Sable and then forget your words.
You did it very well, though.
I was like, thanks to Rob that helped me balance the computer.
Bryce is so easy to talk to.
Oh my God, he is seriously cool. A feline, we got along really well with the feline. So, okay, so we have Mark D'Antonio. So let's talk. So first of all, let me get some of the merch. Sky Tours. So if you guys are not familiar with Mark D'Antonio, let's introduce you.
Sure.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Well,
I need to breathe.
I'm an astronomer, and this is what we look like once in a while, usually without the tie. Well, I started these remote observatories around the country, and we have remote observatories in Connecticut, Arizona, and then we have another one in Arizona that's going in soon. And so we actually do astronomy outreach education to a lot of people out there and all over the world. We have people from China, Chile, many countries in South Brazil. In fact, I can't name all the countries in the world, but most countries in the world are watching us and see us. And so we do astronomical stuff. We create products too, which are just because we're a nonprofit company. So we have like mouse pads with cool things we've done, pictures like this one here.
Look at the pictures. And I did an interview here for UAP.
yes.
So I have the pictures behind me.
Very cool.
Please
So
watch
you've seen
because you
before.
told me about them. Tell them.
So we've taken these pictures in our observatories. That right there is a 20-second photo. You might not recognize it, but that star right there, that's the leftmost star in Orion's belt. There's two more after that, right? Yeah, and so that's what's
They
really
can see
that's
that.
what's hit. Why do I want you to be out?
I don't care. This is about you
And that's,
right now.
and that's actually a really cool nebula, and this is all hiding behind that bright star. You don't even see it. Like, you don't even see any of this stuff until you use a good telescope with a proper set of filters. And man, you see all these things. And when we show people these things, we talk about what is that? What is that black thing right there? How was it made? What does it mean to us? Turns out that that thing is made of this dark material that is in your bodies. It actually is the foundational elements that are created in these types of locations that make you up as a human being. And
When you
it's
told me
really
that
cool.
the first time, it just kind of tripped me out a little bit. Because it's like you don't think about yourself at that level. I'm
No,
so sorry.
you
You don't
don't.
think about yourself at that level, but that's really what we are, right?
Yeah, everything in our bodies was once made in the heart of a star at hundreds of millions of degrees. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. And after it gets blown away from a star that's gone supernova, it ends up in a nebula like this, with this dark stuff in here. And that stuff ends up being made into planets and into living creatures. Awesome stuff.
I know we got some comments. Incredible, Margie Antonio. So beautiful. So unfortunately, I missed your panel, but I wanted to ask you, you've been to all these conferences, you're into astronomy, and how are you feeling about everything that's going on in a world where we're like talking like multidimensional and all these concepts,
Yeah.
right? I think of the stars are the stars, right? There's a physical thing, it's right there. How are you doing with all this? Where do you sit?
Let me tell you where I sit on that.
Mhm.
If you look out, if you go to a dark sky site and you look out and you see thousands of stars over your head, it's interesting to realize that for all the stars you see, there are many more planets out there than stars. That's factual data. That's not I wish it to be true. It's factual. There's more stars, there's more planets around stars than there are stars in the universe. So what do you think the chances are that there might be life else? Pretty good. Pretty good. And we're carbon-based. In fact, I wrote a book called The Populated Universe, which talks about the fact that being carbon-based, carbon's the fourth most abundant element in the whole universe. Okay? And that means that there's a lot of carbon in the universe. We're based on carbon. We need oxygen to survive. So our atmosphere is full of oxygen created by life. And we've been pumping that oxygen into our atmosphere for over 2 billion years via the phytoplankton in the oceans. So it's certain to me that there's life elsewhere that's done the same thing. It's like a template that the universe provides for a planet that can support it. And guess what? There's lots of planets that can support it.
Where are you on portals? I mean, do you think, wormholes, portals, if you think there's something out there, I always say what's in front of us. I'm just,
How can they get here?
yeah, exactly. How do you think, from
Well,
I know what
I-
other people can, I want to hear
Well, I
this.
did my talk the other day on the physics at a layperson's level of how that happens, in my view. And I think it's really the only way that it can possibly happen. And it comes down to the fundamental forces in quantum mechanics. And I don't try to make people understand all the quantum mechanics forces, but I try to tell them that when it comes to gravity, gravity is a fundamental force. But we don't know a lot about gravity. We can't really do anything but calculate its value. We've not found, like, photons of light. We haven't found gravitons. And gravitons are something that's even more important. That's really cool. And so we have to think about the fact that if there's gravitons out there, it means that they must have some capabilities that are pretty extraordinary. Maybe they can help us do dimensional motion, dimensional movement, like to a fifth dimension. We're in 4 dimensions, X, Y, and Z moving through time. That's our whole universe right there. Okay. Well, guess what? There's a 5th dimension out there, along with those 4. And that 5th dimension is a place where if we can get into that, it's highly warped. So all the distant objects in the universe are close enough to us, so that we can just punch out and punch in much, much closer to an object. And it's so cool. It's most awesome. So what that means to us is that we have the ability to literally at some point punch out and punch in without traveling in between the space around it. We can actually not have to travel in a straight line. We can just punch out and punch
Punch
in.
it.
And guess what? CERN overseas is building an accelerator, a particle accelerator, and it's going to investigate these very particles that look like they have that capability. And they're going to be doing that in the next couple of years. This accelerator is going to be ready, and they'll be able to investigate it. And meanwhile, over on the other side of the world, at Lawrence Livermore Labs, they have created a fusion reaction between hydrogen being converted to helium that they can actually sustain for a period of time. And all that's needed to create the particles that CERN is looking at, that could take us into that fifth dimension and allow us to punch in and punch out. And the development that Lawrence Livermore has done on fusion, that particle, those particles that we can surround our ship with to take us where we need to go, are generated by what is just a simple fusion reactor. So Livermore is creating a potential fusion reactor, and over here we have the ability to investigate the particles themselves and see what they can do. It really is amazing, because it means that we're probably maybe just 50 years, 100 years, maybe 200 years away from punching in and punching out on our own.
So being able to do it ourselves, which, we're pretty new in this game. They've been here a lot longer. So, I mean, the math works. So,
They need like 1,000 years ahead of us to be doing this very well.
what do you think? Are you worried about anything that CERN is doing? Is it getting too crazy in any way? I mean, you hear all kinds of, stories. It's like, are we breaking into another dimension? What do you, that's why I ask you. You're the voice of reason in this case.
I think that what CERN is doing, you have to remember that it takes a lot of energy for CERN to do what they're doing. And what they're getting out of it is something with a lot smaller energy as a result. So they're not putting in energy to something that's going to make a gigantic, monstrous energetic output, like a big explosion or something. They're actually putting a lot of energy into colliding tiny atomic particles and getting trails off those particles. That's what they're putting their energy into. So they're not ending with something monstrously dangerous. They're ending with something that's almost not perceivable. So it's going in the right direction. They're not creating anything that can be dangerous to us, but they're creating stuff that will give us a lot of insight and knowledge into how atomic reactions and how particles work.
So you're feeling pretty good about what they're doing?
I feel okay with it. I don't think it's anything dangerous. It's only dangerous for the people that are, possibly in those tunnels while they're doing those acceleration of the particles. Because as you try to curve particles around in a circle with a giant magnetic field all the way around, those particles are constrained by a magnetic field, and that causes them to give off something called synchrotron radiation. And that's not healthy for you.
Okay.
But that's only while they're doing the acceleration.
What is it called?
Synchrotron.
Synchrotronic radiation. Synchrotonic radiation. We have some comments, Mark. Okay. We are Stardust. Everybody's going off on, the Stardust comments, so I'm just trying to keep up. So, what is the most exciting? What gets you most excited right now about what's going on? What is it in your space that you're just psyched about?
I am very psyched about several things. Number one, I'm excited about the James Webb Space Telescope. James Webb Space Telescope is making so many discoveries that are awesome. It's showing us how the fundamental formation of the universe actually occurred. We're seeing galaxies that were literally only like 300,000 years after the beginning of the universe. We see galaxies. That is incredible. And I'm afraid that that's something that's going to, be of major importance down the line, because we don't know how much mass there is in the universe. We'd love to believe there's a lot, but there still isn't enough to have made the Big Bang. We're looking for more. So James Webb is seeing stuff out there that was formed only just after the universe began, but it's been up to now completely invisible to us. James Webb has the ability to see that far back in time.
It's crazy when you say that, because it is so, we're seeing things that are no longer there, even when we're out there. So, Rebellious Unknown has a question. I've heard that some scientists are trying to make tiny black holes. I guess that's what we're talking about. Have you heard that? And if so, what do you think?
Well, the particles we're talking about that make tiny black holes are particles that in part could be called Kaluza-Klein gravitons, and they make micro black holes. but not to fret. They're very, very small. They're microscopic. They're not growing. Actually, they evaporate very quickly. They're gone in nanoseconds. So as soon as they're made, they disappear. In fact, if I clap my hands, they appear to disappear well within that time of the sound. That they're here and they're gone. But if you make enough of them around your ship, that's going to actually pull you into that fifth dimension I talked about. See, like hitchhiking into the fifth dimension. Okay, and then
Freaking me out.
yeah, no, it's going to allow us to come out and go back in.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm not concerned about micro black holes because micro black holes do not last long. They last nanoseconds. They don't suddenly combine with each other. They don't suddenly grow. They are created and they disappear almost immediately. So I'm not worried about them.
Okay.
That's a great question, Rebellious. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my friend Lynn. I actually performed her wedding ceremony in the waters of Blind Frog Ranch in
Wow.
Vernal. I know that got crazy, and I provide ongoing support to their marriage. But that's for a different conversation. But Mark and I are like, we've been around each other enough down the hall for days. So the James Webb Telescope. Okay, I gotta ask because everybody's here. Asteroids. Anything there that we gotta? Should I be freaking out yet?
Not yet, but we do have to be concerned. All right, we have asteroids that we call NEOs, near Earth objects, and they sometimes do cross into our path. On SkyTour live stream, we've actually watched an asteroid live as it's going between the Earth and the Moon, and that's pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
And as it moved across the screen on our telescope screen that was broadcasting to the world at this speed. I'll show you right here. See how that's moving right here? It doesn't look like fast motion, but it's moving very fast between the Earth and the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched it go, and we had to keep moving the telescope to stay caught up with it as it moved. So that was only
some moments that made you kind of like your stomach turning.
Yeah, well, you don't know for sure how long or how dangerous or how long an asteroid is going to be a threat or how dangerous it can be. But every asteroid that's found goes on something called the Sentry List, like a Sentinel Sentry List.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sentry List is made for asteroids that might be dangerous at some point. And if they are, then they're going to be on that list for a long time. If they're not, they'll be removed from that list. And what makes the difference? What makes the difference is that they analyze the direction of motion and they figure out which way it's going, what its orbit's going to be. Is it orbiting you? Is it orbiting the Earth? Is it orbiting the Sun? Okay, whichever way. Okay, it is determined. The orbit gets determined. If that orbit gets determined, they can then say, "All right, not a danger. Remove it from the list."
So nothing right now has you to be jiggity.
No, well, the only thing that has me a little bit jiggity is the fact that they.
I got him to say be jiggity. Go ahead.
I did. Jiggity. I like
Jiggity. I know. Use it.
I'm jiggity.
I'm feeling be jiggity.
No, the only thing that makes me feel that way is the objects we don't know. There's a lot of objects out there that are unknown to us, and we don't know everyone. We can't see everyone, so it's a little concern, So we have to just stay on top of things. We have to have better watching of the skies, so to speak, to make sure that there's nothing out there that can hurt us. And good luck with that.
Yeah. So I have another question because Lynn's just loving you, and she has her own channel. She's probably gonna invite you. Oh, thank you, Devin. If the black holes only last for a fraction of a second and don't grow, does that change our idea of a black hole sucking everything in? Or is it simply due to their tiny size? Very good question.
Well spoken, Lynn. It's because of the tiny size they evaporate so quickly. Even big black holes are evaporating. Right? All black holes evaporate over time because they actually, besides being gravitational sources of they do lose energy through their surfaces. They're also at the surface giving off lots and lots of energy that's not going into the black hole. It's a consequence of how they operate. So they do lose energy. It's how we see them. We see them in the radio spectrum. And so if we can see them, it's because stuff is actually coming off of them, right? And so they do evaporate, and micro black holes are no different. Those MBHs are going to evaporate very, very quickly.
It's crazy to me to think of a black hole, actually. I mean, with all destruction, I say destruction because it just sucks everything in. The idea that it just evaporates. I mean, over how long?
Okay,
Oh, no, tell me.
that's a great idea. How long do these things
Yeah.
last? They last, it depends on their size. I'll give you an example. Using a special telescope that we use called the Event Horizon Telescope, we've been able to see as astronomers that there is a black hole in the center of a distant galaxy. And that black hole is massive. It's about 5 to 6 times bigger than our whole solar system. That's huge. And that black hole is also going to evaporate, but maybe not as much as material that's being pulled into it. Okay, so that would offset it. But these little tiny black holes like this are actually, they don't have time. They give off all their energy in a few nanoseconds, and then they're gone. And but if you can generate enough of them and keep enough of them as a net number, that's the thing that's important with our theory for traveling in the fifth dimension.
And I got one more question here. Is that a quasar? And if so, then a micro black hole has a micro quasar?
Well, quasar stands for quasi-stellar object, and so it's not a quasar. Okay, quasars are very different. It's an effect that could be created by black holes in the center of a galaxy, and so we see that there are objects like that out there that do this. But a micro black hole isn't a micro quasar. Okay, a micro black hole is just that. And again, micro black holes are strange. We can see how large black holes form. Massive stars that collapse, and they keep collapsing until there's nothing left, effectively. But that is something that really merits a lot of attention as the micro black hole thing. What is the micro black hole? Yeah. And that explanation is beyond the scope of this interview.
Yeah, no. And I see that people are starting to take stuff down, and unfortunately I hogged you, and now you're going to have to catch up. But I do want to make sure, by the way, what up with these? If you check these out, we got merch. Yeah. And I do want to just make sure that we're covering your sky tour. So how often do you do this? How can we help you? I mean, one of the things that we want to do as a community, we were talking to the UAPPD, how do we help them? How do we help you guys, astronomers? What do we do?
Getting the message out. We're an astronomy organization, do public outreach. And Sky Tour live stream is on YouTube, it's on Rumble, it's on Facebook, Twitch, and Trovo. And we stream on most clear nights. And we have remote observatories around the country. We have one in Connecticut, we have one in Arizona, we have a second one going in Arizona in the next month or two. So that's pretty cool.
So you were in, okay. I did one of these in the last conference. I didn't do it this time. I loved it. It was you and Ben, and we're out there, and it's like live. But you can get these virtual. I mean, the cool thing is that you don't have to leave home. You can these are the cool experiences that you can bring home to
Ben
people
Hansen
where they don't, Benny.
Ben does
We're talking about you, Benny.
Ben does a great skywatch.
Call him Benny.
And when we're together, I'll go out there and help him with the astronomy side of things. And then last night we did our Sky Tour live. This one here, we put that on the big screen, and people can sit in the nice, comfortable interior and watch it on the screen, ask questions, and be part of a stream that's going worldwide at the same time.
I actually think it's a great date night event. You hang out at home, maybe a little glass of wine. That's DLS.
Sky Tour live stream.
I mean, I went there, loved it. It was just one of the coolest experiences, and I need to do this remotely because there we go. Rebellious put it on. Lynn says, thank you, Mark. Fantastic at explaining in an understandable way for those of us who don't know. I love that, right? Because it's like you can really explain it where I don't get.
You know why? Because I have had plenty of people in academia talk to me when I was getting my degree, and I had to take notes, and I couldn't keep up. And when you feel lost, it really is an uncomfortable feeling. So what I try to do is explain it in a way that you can understand it right the first time, because I never could.
And I appreciate that so much. I mean, I'm super ADD, honestly. You haven't figured that one out. Look, you guys, there's mugs. I'm totally gonna get some merch on the way out here. We're gonna let Mark go. I'm gonna wrap up over there, and then I'm gonna get a couple of things real quick before you start packing up. You're gonna pack up your stuff right now.
Yeah, these are actually available on our Etsy store.
Do you have an Etsy store?
Yeah, the Etsy store is called
We're going to put all this. Go ahead.
Sky Tour Shop on Etsy. And We have about 100 products up there, ranging from women's bathing suits to men's bathing suits to
You too
blankets,
can wear Orion.
mugs. Yeah, you can. You can
You
wear
can wear an
Orion.
Orion
Yeah,
swimming
we have
with
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah, we have
And
all
we
kinds
got
of things.
mugs.
Tumblers.
I'm just
we've
gonna
got-
just
it's
advertise because
great,
that's what I
man.
do. So we got
Everything from refrigerator magnets. We've got
Look at that.
Look.
You can take the
Luggage.
universe with you. Luggage.
luggage. Okay?
We got it
Duffel
all. Look at this
bags.
mug though. This is so cool. So what are we looking at? This is the Seven Sisters. This is plate.
That is the Seven Sisters.
Seven.
on
Oh,
there.
right here. Play this Seven Sisters mug. I love this.
Yeah.
So Mark, I'm gonna put all this information. I'm gonna take this with me along with the UAPPD for Marianne, who was lovely.
Yeah.
Her interview, everybody's like all jazzed about helping
sure.
helping them out, and same with you. You have been so lovely.
Well, thank you.
Every time I meet you, you're just so sweet.
Well, make sure you join us on Skype or live stream. You know,
Let's do that.
go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel.
I've already subscribed, but I'm gonna actually start making them all the time because this is I missed it this time, and I'm really sad about it. Because it's one of the best things I've ever done. It's like one of those cool, and even at home, I think it's fascinating that you can be part of something like this live and interact with people that are doing it, especially when you're willing to explain.
Yeah, we have over 700 streams online from 2 hours to 5 hours long that we've done with people, doing the universe. And every night's different. Every night's different, and we're driven by.
And you never know what pops up. Have you
Yeah.
bumped into something? Okay, before I let him go, have you bumped into something there on these sky tours that you went,
As a matter of fact, I did.
when?
We have an all sky camera which looks at the whole sky and takes pictures because we're set up to take pictures. And we got this weird thing circling around above the observatory, and we couldn't figure it out, and we still can't. It's not a jet fighter. It's not a commercial aircraft. It's certainly not a bird or a bat or anything like that. It's not a little tiny light plane. It's actually a singular light that goes around, and it was a 24-second exposure. And then in 2 frames, you see one half go around, and in the other exposure, the other rest of it goes around. And we didn't know what that was. It's a true anomalous capture.
Where do we see that? In your channel, maybe? Maybe. I'm starting to sound like Childress.
So.
I was hanging around Childress too long. Maybe. It sounded more like raggy.
Someone
came but
someone came up to me and said, "David?" I go, "No, not David."
No, not David, Antonio. But okay, so thank you so much, my mod here. Rebellious Unknown, put your stuff out there.
Thank you very much for putting that up.
I'm going to put it on the show description. I'm going to let our lovely guest here pack up because the party is wrapping up. I'm going to go say goodnight over there. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure meeting you.
Great time seeing you and spending time.
And
with
I will
you.
never forget the time that you explained this to me at the last conference because the fact that it was Ryan's belt, the fact that, it's just one of those moments that I'll always remember.
There's stuff you just don't see up there.
Exactly. And there's stuff that we don't see around us also. So it's like, I love that you're watching because I need somebody to make me feel
Well, remember, we bring you the universe live in real time. That's what we do.
oh my gosh, the universe live in
Real time. Thanks, guys.
I love it. Thank you so much,
See you
Mark. I'm
later.
going to move the computer over here and say goodnight to my fam over here and let you pack up. We're moving. Chris on the run. I don't have any on YouTube, actually. But if I did, I would for you because, hey, it's an action. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. Oh, my God. And then Benny again. Or Ben's like, can you please stop filming me? Daniel, how is it, Chase?
He's, I think, in
Say hi. That's Daniel Angel. Roommate. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start wrapping this up, y'all, because I can't. I'm tired. I don't even know where I'm walking. I'm walking in the wrong direction. But you guys, I love you all. I published a new video today. Hopefully you need to show me Mindforked. I'm gonna go pass out. I'm Cindy. I'm coming back to the Airbnb, girl. 'Cause I'm exhausted, and there's still sessions going on, but I'm just hungry. So let me see. I'm fine. When I'm talking to somebody like this, I do check because I can't think. I get really confused. My darling Jeanette is so nice. Oh my God, alien girl, I miss you, honey. And Timmy, wait, I'm trying. Timmy and Cindy, we're gonna go hang out and relax a little bit. Thank you so much, Liz. Jeanette Angel, Shelly. Hope Donkey's okay. Dunka 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 chino. That's about the last thing of energy I have left in me. The Dunka Chino song. That's all you get. I'm spent. I have networked beyond my capabilities. So I love you all. I'm going to be back real soon, working on the next season, working on the next show. It's going to be a fun one. So I'm not going to announce it yet until I get the thumbnail ready, but I'll be back. And thank you for joining me in this fantastic, it's a historic time. And I'm just the fact that we were able to be part of this, the fact that we can sit down with people and talk, and the fact that I can take it home to you guys, it just means a lot to me. So I love you all. Have a great evening. I'm gonna go pass out. I'm gonna go see Cindy and Gunnar. Love you guys. And Stuart's somewhere in there. I think he's driving. So hi, who I miss so much. Mwah. Love you all. Take care. Bye.